Anyone who watches Family Guy knows that Quagmire is capable of doing anything to pick up women, including committing crimes. However, you're mistaken if you think he stops at women, because this guy doesn't forgive anything. If he has the opportunity, he's capable of hooking up with other guys as well. Continuing a segment here on the channel, in today's video, we're going to take a look at Quagmire's most suspicious moments. But before we start, leave a like and subscribe to the channel to help reach the 8 mil subscriber goal. We're almost there, huh? So, give that support. And before we begin, I have to say that Family Guy is a dark humor series, and its jokes shouldn't be taken seriously under any circumstances. The content of this video isn't meant to offend anyone. I know most of you already know that, but some people out there don't understand, so I'm obligated to warn you. Warning given. Let's go to the 7th episode of season 12, where Quagmire ends up exchanging glances with a transvestite at a bar, who follows him all the way home. And that's when we see them having a pretty ugly argument, with Quagmire telling the guy to leave, claiming he only looked at him because he was far away and mistook him for a woman. The transvestite refuses to leave, saying Quagmire always knew what he was and wanted him, but was just too embarrassed to admit it. And who do you think was right in this story? Of course it was the transvestite, right? You know you want me? Shut up and go away. Nobody saw me coming here. I already told you to shut up. Enter through the back. And now I ask you, is it to enter through the back of the house or to enter Quagmire's back? Though it could also be both options together, right? In episode 12 of season 8, after Brian tries to prove that psychics don't exist, Peter starts thinking that he's a psychic. And so, to make some money, he starts charging people to predict their futures. One of his first clients ends up being Quagmire, whom Peter tells will die in a few days in a plane crash and be reincarnated as a condom. And so we see that prediction come true. What, at first glance, seems like something incredible to Quagmire, but there was a little problem with this story. Okay, no, it's fine. Okay, no. In episode 15 of season 11, for some reason, Peter thinks it's a good idea to buy a falcon. He even names it Cheryl, but that's not very important here. What's important, or rather shocking, is that at one point when Peter goes to show his new pet to Quagmire, the bird goes crazy and starts pecking his backside. And it was a pretty bizarre scene. Look at it for yourself. But do you know why Cheryl was doing that? Well, it turns out that Peter fed it rodents, and for some bizarre reason, Quagmire kept a rat in the depths of his backside. And the craziest part is that, terrified, the animal manages to escape through his mouth. Ah, you scared the little guy. Tony, come back here. And honestly, I don't get the whole rats and butt obsession. South Park did the same thing, and I still don't understand the reason behind it. If anyone knows where this story comes from, let me know. I'd really love to know. Now, let's move on to episode 5 of season 9, where we find out that during Halloween, Peter, Joe, and Quagmire had the habit of picking one of them to be the target of jokes from the other two. And the chosen one that year would be Quagmire. But this little game of theirs wasn't healthy at all, as the goal was to make the chosen one suffer in any way possible. To give you an idea, Peter and Joe tried to infect Quagmire with every disease known to man. And this plan only didn't work because Quagmire was already infected with them all. Now, don't ask me how he's still alive, but it turns out this wasn't the most absurd thing Peter and Joe did. Because knowing that Quagmire does crazy things to get a woman, they decide to attack his weak point. That's when Joe dresses as a woman and manages to trick Quagmire into sleeping with him. Yeah, Quagmire slept with Joe. I didn't feel anything. But what did you feel? That's pretty suspicious. And don't come defending Quagmire by saying he was tricked, because look at the image. Joe was naked, so Quagmire knew exactly what he was doing. And honestly, I think he only regretted it because it was Joe. But it turns out Joe isn't the only friend Quagmire has with suspicious moments, because Peter has had several of these moments too. In episode 19 of season 10, after Peter almost kills Lois rolling on top of her in bed, she decides to take drastic measures and swaps their double bed for 2 single beds, which Peter really doesn't like, as he thought this idea was horrible and felt the need to hug someone while he slept. So, while he was telling Quagmire about the difficulties he was going through at home, Quagmire says he understood perfectly, since he liked being hugged while he slept too, and didn't always have someone to do that. So, they decide to make an agreement that would benefit both, and you probably already guessed what it is, which in this case would be that they both start sleeping together, cuddled up. Of course, Lois thinks this is very weird, but Peter and Quagmire refuse to admit that it's suspicious. But Quagmire likes to be hugged very tightly while sleeping. And when Peter went to do this, he thought his underwear was uncomfortable, so they decided to take it off. Take it off! You see? Yes, it was suspicious to astronomical levels. But wait, there's more. Because after that first night together, Peter and Quagmire start living as if they were an extremely loving couple. They did practically everything together, and this crazy romance between the two only ended when Peter rolled over in bed and almost killed. However, Peter and Quagmire already did something much more suspicious than sleeping cuddled up without underwear. What happened in episode 12 of season 11, where, after getting drunk, Quagmire makes the mistake of getting married. And when he finally sobers up, he realizes the big mess he's gotten into, because if he asked for a divorce, his wife would take half of everything he had. And the only way to prevent this from happening would be if the wife agreed to the divorce. To do that, Quagmire tries to pretend he's gay, but the wife demands proof. So Quagmire goes to Peter and asks to sleep with him. And the crazy Peter simply agrees. And so we had one of the most suspicious and bizarre moments in the whole series, with Peter and Quagmire kissing and caressing. My God, I'm so excited about gay sex. Me too. And when the kiss was almost about to touch the screen, the wife stops everything and agrees to grant Quagmire the divorce. So they didn't get to do the final acts. However, Quagmire unintentionally broadcasted all of this on the internet, meaning everyone saw how suspicious Peter and Quagmire were together. So, which of these moments do you think was the most suspicious of Quagmire? And also, let me know which next character you want me to show the most suspicious moments of. And it doesn't have to be just from Family Guy, it can be from any other series I talk about here on the channel. But if you liked the video, check out this other one. Hurry over there, it's crazy!